Today you're going to hear about Sasseur REIT, and look at this picture over here. You realize that people are back to its shopping malls. Sasseur REIT owns shopping malls in tier 2 cities. Those are, fashion retail outlets. So, like in JB, there's premium retail outlet mall. Sasseur REIT actually owns these malls. They own 4 malls in tier 2 cities. So if today you're interested in what kind of REITs you should invest, I'll deep dive a bit on Sasseur REIT. I'll tell you the risk, I'll tell you the opportunity. You decide for yourself. This is not a buy and sell recommendation, but nonetheless, if this interests you, continue watching. Hi guys, welcome back. Chinese information can be trusted 100%. I don't know if that gut feeling also or not. So even though I follow Sasseur REIT on their Facebook group, I also want to verify on CapitaLand Retail China Trust. So they've also mentioned that they have reopened their mall. This article over here mentions the MingZhongLeYuan mall in Wuhan. So it is true, Chinese cities are almost back to 100%. Chinese shoppers are allowed to go back. And Chinese shoppers, I've done so many videos on coronavirus, I really realized they are big shoppers. They go all over to spend and shop, and not only that, they also buy and shop in their own country. So Sasseur REIT actually owns 4 malls. You today understand a little bit better. And today we'll deep dive firstly on this EME agreement. It's an Entrusted Manager Agreement, which is very unique to their REIT. And it's something that you need to appreciate a little bit before you get invested into Sasseur REIT. Okay, let's pull up this Entrusted Manager Agreement over here. You realize that there's a fixed component and a variable component. The fixed component was already predetermined at IPO, and it escalates at 3%, so it's pretty good to you as an investor. The main issue is this variable component. You see over here, a couple of percent, 4-5% of sales is earned to you as an investor. Now, where does the majority of it go to? It's actually given to the sponsor who runs this mall. So they have a lot of alignment of interest. Maybe you can see it as performance, very good, or you can see it, I only get such a small percentage even if the stores are selling so well. But for my own preference, I think someone that's performing very well, I get a small percentage is better than someone that's not performing at all. I don't know what you think. Leave in the comment section below whether you think this is fair or unfair. But nonetheless, Sasseur REIT has this very unique design in terms of how much they are going to be able to pass to you as an investor. But what we realize over here is whenever they disclose, they also disclose with certain breakdown, the fixed component as well as the variable component. That is what you will see over here. There's a few risk factors. Now, there used to be a guarantee for the IPO as well as to last year of the minimum payout, but this guarantee is removed. So that's one risk to take note of. And the second risk is there's also this exchange rate. Now, if renminbi starts to decline, you realize that your dividend income may decline. So that's the second risk to take note of. And over here, you realize that this 6.5 cents last year, that is last year. So this year, there's certain periods that we know, right, that coronavirus has caused shopping malls to be closed. And how long was the closure? I'll pull out for you to quickly see over here. You realize that the 4 malls were closed on average of 44 to 49 days. So respectively, they've lost a month and a half of income, which means this 6.5 cents that was mentioned for last year is definitely going to drop. How much is it going to drop? That's up to your interpretation. And the other thing is this. Sasseur REIT paid for the last 2 years 100% of his profit to you as an investor. Now, a REIT is paying 90% above. They can choose to reduce that so that they have money to reinvest into other malls. But the main thing is this 6.5 cents is certainly going to be lower for this year. How much lower is up to your interpretation. If you use a conservative estimate, maybe 5 cents, maybe 5.5 cents, then the dividend yield may still be certainly quite respectable as of current price. So that's something for you to consider. But I'll pull out another risk for you quickly see over here. You realize that the lease for most of its shops is expiring. Over here, you realize that more than 50% is actually going to expire in 2020. That puts a lot of pressure, that puts a lot of risk to you as an investor. What if malls are able to renew their best performing tenants? What if malls start to see the crowd start to drive out, start to not come, and their tenants start to default one by one? Now, this is a risk to you because a lot of contracts are renewing this year. But nonetheless, I checked on certain retail mall REITs. Typically, the rental lease is 1-2 years thereabouts. So this portion over here is not unusual, but it's still a risk factor for you to consider. I have something extra to share with you, and before that, I'd like to invite you to smash our subscribe button, join our community, become more financially savvy, where we discuss investments and retirement planning ideas. And not only that, smash on like so that more people can see valuable content like this. So over here, you look at this chart, you realize that on 31st March, there's this huge volume. And I did some investigation. It's actually possibly by its major shareholder, which is Jung Ho Cho. This is a Korean billionaire. I did some preliminary research, and there used to be a partnership, a JV idea that for Sasseur to move into Korea, but Apparently, he is fully sold out, which means possibly Sasseur REIT is not going too much into Korea moving forward. So this is something to take note. Does he know something different, or is that prospect no longer valid? It's up to your interpretation. Share them in the comments if you have deeper insights into it for the community to learn further. And not only that, let's pull up over here. This is by Sidley. This is the REIT summary calculator. You realize that Sasseur's dividend yield as of this point, about 60 cents, is about 10.5%. But nonetheless, this dividend yield is certainly going to drop, as I mentioned in the start of the video, that with the closure of malls for 40 over days, with certain parts of the dynamics changing within Sasseur REIT, their dividend payout is going to drop, and dividend yield is certainly going to be dropping moving forward. Now, what about this gearing ratio? This 27% gearing ratio is pretty low if you compare across the rest of REITs, which means they have a lot of financial stability. They have room to acquire more malls from its sponsor. They have actually a pipeline of malls. So that could be interesting, potential good upside news. So again, if you have further questions, leave them in the comment sections. I'll pick up each and every one of them. I've shared this portion. And if you're looking to invest better, also look to diversified S-REIT ETF, because that removes some pressure for you to stock pick and understand too much. Sasseur REIT is also a portion of, for example, this Lion Philippe S-REIT ETF. If you see over here, you realize that although a small percentage, 0.4%, let's look at this over here, you still get exposure. Just in case Sasseur REIT grows to become bigger in market cap, you should expect Sasseur REIT to climb in terms of its weightage within the S-REIT ETF, and that removes all pressure. That's a usual suggestion I give to private clients in terms of how they can get REIT exposure. So with that, leave any comments. I'll see you in a future video. Take care and goodbye.